It's time for Tuesday Night Live Chat with Brian S. Red and John Young. So, Brian, the intro says it's Tuesday night, but it's not.
Yeah, it feels like Sunday night.
It really does.
But it's Monday night.
We were going to go watch 60 Minutes, and it's like, wait, well, what? No, that was. Wait, right. I just sounded old.
Right. You did just sound old. I was going to say Walking Dead, but that's even old. So
exactly. So, hey, good evening and welcome everyone. Tonight, Brian and I are going to dig in to another music show where tonight's topic is going to be putting together some 90s or getting some 90s songs that fit into that kind of cocktail time frame. As we've been doing shows and such, I don't know what you've been running into, Brian, but the wedding so far, the 70s stuff is like, oh, that's nice. Except for the Guardians of the Galaxy type songs.
Right.
80s stuff, I've just been somewhat disappointed unless it's one of the big bangers. 80s stuff has been the parents of the kids who are getting married. That's when the parents were being out there and they were, enjoying and still hitting the bar once in a while. And
right.
When they were fun.
1995 was 26 years ago.
Yeah, and we're doing weddings for 24, 25, 26-year-olds.
Exactly. So that would be like when we got married, hearing songs from the late 60s kind of thing.
Yes. So it's time we have to go to the next decade. And for those of you who are wondering, we've done these types of shows before. You can find most of these out at DJNTV If you go in there, you can see a list on the front of the website. There's a lot of those music shows. And most of those, once you've registered for the free account, it's just we have to put them behind a sign-in. Because if they're not behind a sign-in, then the videos get flagged and we have problems. So there's shows we've done in the past, and we've played the songs and talked about them. Tonight we're going to be spending more time talking about, not as much playing. Maybe we'll be able to sample just a little bit. So, excellent. I see Jimmy's with us here in the chat room. So,
yeah, I look at that. I haven't done a live Zoom in a long time. I forgot about all of this. So, chat's open, and I'll follow it.
Yeah, yep. There we are. Jimmy's there. JC, John is with us. Dan and Howie. Excellent. Thank you guys for being with. And then right after the show, by the way, Howie and the crew are going to get together and are going to do a dance floor, putting together a playlist for your dance floor from the 2000s. So they're going to be getting into that. And as I was going through this list and kind of working back and forth with it, it's like, gosh, there's a lot of great 90s songs that are upbeat songs that we used to play that I haven't played in years. And it's like, I need to start probably looking at adding some of those back to the library as we're getting into that group that knew that music.
It feels like there's always those songs that are good songs, but you're not necessarily going to get them to dance to them, but they know them and they're good.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the kind of songs I was thinking about when I was putting together my short list.
Yeah, and of some of the stuff. When we've talked music and such, and you've got an opinion when it comes to that music, when we came out of the 80s and there's a lot of upbeat, fun dance stuff, and then we hit this wall. And before we go into the show and start talking songs and such, kind of explain what that wall was and what that did to the music of the era.
Well, it was the Seattle thing that kicked in, like rather abruptly. So we were having this really cool dance party, and then all of a sudden Smells Like Teen Spirit hit. And everything sounded like Soundgarden and Pearl Jam for the next few years. And everybody stopped shopping at the mall and started shopping at the farmer supply store for flannel shirts and long underwear and things. It was just a very different vibe for our dance floors. And the music did change a lot. I always kind of looked at 90, 91, and 92 as like a 3-year extension of the 1980s. Because it kind of was. It was the same wave. But the 90s for me started in 93 with Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's when it started.
It's really what kind of defined that decade for you.
I feel like it did.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have shows like this, I try to stay within the confines of the decade. So I'm not playing by my weird rules that nobody pays attention to anyway with my list.
Your weird rules.
Yeah, well, I got weird. I got a weird list too. So get ready.
So if you guys have got some songs that you think should be in that 90s cocktail folder, put those into the chat. And I think all the chats are propagating to my computer here, whether you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, and we're going to literally make a list, and I'm going to be typing this all up. I've already got a great start on a list here, and I'll be adding Brian's songs to it, and then we'll be putting that list up on the website out at DJNTV training or DJNTV.com and DJNTV training.com. We'll put it all out there. That's the only spot I'm going to be able to put this list. It's too big for the comment section or the description section. So
That's what she said.
it is. It's way too big. Way too big. So Brian, where did you start music wise? What were you doing with that?
Well, let me just explain my thought pattern on this. And again, like I said, I think before the show, maybe, or maybe it was at the intro, I'm thinking about those songs that everybody knows, but maybe aren't necessarily dancing to. So, and maybe some songs that maybe are a little more obscure, but you're never going to fill a dance floor with them, but they're things that people might enjoy hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that I will point out is that when it comes to specific wedding receptions, I'm not a lyric guy. I don't pay a lot of attention to lyrics, but I understand a lot of people do. So I try not to do slow songs that are breakup songs or talking smack about her or him or a situation. You like to do more love songs. But of course, we're all still playing I Will Survive. And in your case, Run Around Sue at our weddings. So for the fast songs, they almost get a pass. You can play songs that are salty, but for the slow songs, you can't. So I was kind of keeping that in mind with my list. There was a lot of songs that I liked and I thought would be really cool for a cocktail set, but maybe not a wedding cocktail set. Those are like a couple bonus tracks that I added at the end of my list.
And that was what I was kind of looking at too, is that there were some songs, and let me just throw the first one out here. Pearl Jam's Last Kiss.
Okay.
When that came out, that was a sing-along in the bar.
Yeah.
That people, and they would slow dance to it and they would sing along. And the song, for those of you who don't remember, is basically the guy's girlfriend dies. And he's got to be good so that he can see her again someday. But it's this kind of almost a borderline doo-wop. It's almost a small, you almost visualize a small 50s, 60s band up there, a Buddy Holly type band. Not Buddy Holly, but doing this. And it's a catchy little tune.
Was that a remake?
I think it was. As a matter of fact, I don't remember who did it the first time.
Because it's very throwback.
Oh, yeah, it very much so, very much so. But it had, during that period of time, it had just so much appeal to that audience.
Right.
In the bar, it was Last Kiss. Let's see who. I'm just going to pop it up and see. Beyond Pearl Jam. Yeah, of course, Taylor Swift has a version of it, but that's no, I'm not seeing exactly who.
Wasn't it? If it was original Pearl Jam, that's pretty cool.
I don't think it was original. Somebody will know in the chat room exactly who did Last Kiss. Who did Last Kiss? But that was an example of a tune that wouldn't be probably something you'd want to play at a wedding, but even if you did during that cocktail time, and people they'll be like, hey, I remember this song.
You can get away with it.
Yeah, possibly one. So, okay, so what do you got here for us? What's your...
I did a wedding probably a little over a month ago, and it had a very urban flavor to it. So it was black and white. Mm-hmm. And I had the coolest dinner cocktail set that I was playing, and I was throwing in my own songs because they had picked some, but I was throwing in my own. And there's a couple that I threw in that were my idea that went over very well, and I wanted to share them because they're 90s songs, and I think a lot of people know them, but maybe haven't thought of them or heard them for a very long time. So that's why I thought they'd be fun.
Yeah.
They're not like lexicon, old-time rock and roll kind of songs that everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So my very first one, and a song I really genuinely do like, and I loved it when it came out, is by SWV, and it's called Use Your Heart. And it might have been one of their last singles, but I love the track. And it's appropriate for a wedding. And I think it's just a cool jam. It was a slow jam in its day, but I think it would work really well. It did work really well for the cocktail set. People were grooving on it. I could, see their body language and such when I was playing it. It was a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that track or
I'm
not.
not sure if I do. That's why I was kind of looking to see if I had it. I don't even have it on the main computer.
It's a really nice song.
But then again, a lot of Sisters with Voices, SWV stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it was there during that particular time, but I don't know how much of our services, because this would have been when I switched over from purchasing to music services
Right.
in the early 90s, because that's when they came out. And
It's
that,
interesting you say that because I had to buy the CD to get the song
there we go.
because I was also on promo only at the time,
Yeah.
and it was an R&B track. I mean, it was played on the urban station, and I wasn't subscribed to an urban service at the time. I was just getting general mainstream, and I did have to buy the CD to get the song, but I did buy it, and didn't really get much of an opportunity to play it as a mobile DJ. So it was exciting for me to throw that track on at the wedding like a month or so ago, and it went over real well. So I would recommend it if you've got a group of people who enjoy R&B. It's a really nice slow jam. I can't imagine that you would get dancers out for it, but great for cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not too sleepy, because I don't want to go too sleepy with my cocktail, you know. But it's a nice song.
I will definitely look that up.
It's a cool one.
So let's go. I want to talk Hootie and the Blowfish, because this is the era when Hootie came in. Hootie and the Blowfish came onto the scene, and they just, for a period of time, it seemed like they set the world on fire. What would be your go-to? Because they had quite a few with Let Her Cry, Only Want to Be With You is a little more, slightly more upbeat, Hold My Hand, Time got some airplay. I mean, they had quite a few that got airplay. For a situation like this, which one would you head to?
I think I do Hold My Hand. I think that's, if it's a wedding, I think I would do Hold My Hand. If it was just a company party, I might do Let Her Cry, because you don't want to do Let Her Cry at a wedding. So, it's just given the choice, I think I would pick Hold My Hand. I think that's a nice one.
Yeah, I was kind of, it was kind of, there was my differentiation between the left or right is
Right.
and Hootie stuff.
Either one are good though.
Oh yeah, both. You know, they had a lot of great stuff, and there were times in the bar where I think I'd play 6 or 7 songs, and there were deep cuts that these people were asking for that I had no idea what they were, and
Sure.
I probably never played them again. But
Yeah.
during that time frame, that cracked rear windshield or the cracked rear view mirror was huge.
Yeah, it was, and that was just a weirdo thing that happened in the '90s for mainstream audiences, which was no fun for me as a DJ. I just wasn't into it.
So now of course, a couple of years ago, and now Wagon Wheel and Darius Rucker brought that out. Because we have a country area here, people were asking for that. That was making the request. And of course, right after that, what was the next song half the time? It was a Hootie song. Oh, let's do this. And then we want this one. It's like, no. I'm afraid Hootie's stuff, well, it's not going to fill your dance floor. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm adding to my list as we're going here.
Yeah.
So.
Another artist that has quite a few, and this was kind of their time, Ace of Base.
Oh yeah.
They really came onto the scene. You know, they had a variety of different tunes in this one. The one that I was thinking, of course, is, you know, just for that high recognition, of course, would be The Sign. But there's other tunes and I was kind of thinking, it's like, would a person go deep with Ace of Base because they were so popular?
Well, Don't Turn Around might not be an appropriate one for a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that vibe is a good vibe. I don't know where you'd go though. The Sign is kind of like, it opened my eyes. I need to leave you. I don't know if that's
exactly. So
material.
it fits a cocktail, but it doesn't fit the wedding. If you want
right. So that's the thing. How deep do you want to go into the lyrics?
Great.
It's a great cocktail artist, but yeah, I would proceed with caution when it came to weddings. You know.
Yeah.
Kind of like Taylor Swift. You can do Love Story, and then you're done, because every other song she does is just about I hate you, I'm better off without you, kind of thing. Get over it.
Yeah. That's so true with all of her songs. David has J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers did Last Kiss. Cavaliers, okay.
Okay.
Thank
What
you,
year
guys.
was the 60s, I would imagine?
1964. Thank you, Dave.
Nice.
Yeah. Ace of Base had more than two hit. I mean, they had two big hit songs, and then they had numerous that charted.
The Sign and Don't Turn Around.
And there was there was another couple. Well, I already jumped ahead to the next group that hit in that early '90s time frame that I wanted to hit. But let's jump to one of your songs and we'll talk about it.
How about some more R&B?
Yeah.
So back in, I believe it was the late 70s, there was a band called Slave that did a song called Just a Touch. And in the 90s, Keith Sweat did it. And I like Keith Sweat's version better. It's a pretty cool tune. And it's really nice. It worked really well for the wedding that I did when I played it as part of my contribution to the R&B dinner set. It's a nice song. It's updated, but not to the point where it's you listen to it today and it sounds dated, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a song that I don't think that you hear all the time, but it's a good tune.
What song was it again?
Catchy. It's called Just a Touch by Keith Sweat.
Okay. Well, I don't have that on the main library either. I'll be going.
Of course, you
I'm
don't.
going to
They're my selections.
I'm going to iTunes afterwards. I have to find some of these.
Well, it's an upbeat song, and there was a time where it was probably kind of a stepping tune, for that crowd.
Sure.
But that time has passed. There are other songs that you could be playing, but it's still a worthwhile song. So it's cool to put it in the dinner set. People still like it, but they wouldn't necessarily rush to the dance floor to hear it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. DJ Miz mentions in the chat room Boys to Men, and of course Boys to Men. This is another. There is just so terribly much of that could be done with Boys to Men. I actually had one of them on my on my list that I wanted to do. They did a version of "In the Still of the Night," and it's a slow song, but their version I really liked. And when I had it on CD, I used to play that quite a bit. This is one of those forgotten songs when you start going through your old lists, and you're like, I used to play that song all the time because people remember that version, and then it's just a little bit more of an R&B feel to this version than the older. So I had to go out and actually buy this thing, so I have it back in my library tonight. But "In the Still of the Night" from Boys to Men was a slow song that I wanted to kind of add to that. Yeah, you could play it for the dance time frame also if you wanted that type of slow song. But gosh, there's so much good stuff there. I wanted that high crowd recognition, kind of a doo-wop-y feel.
Sure. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what I was talking about with the Slave track that Keith Sweat redid. I mean, it's updated, but not to the point where it's dated. And again, there are better choices to play for dancing. At one time, 30 years ago, it was a great dance song, but maybe not now.
Let's see if we looked at. Oh yeah, I do. I do remember that one.
Yeah, it's an "Oh Yeah" song for you, so that would have been perfect for Cocktail.
Yeah,
because you're kind of I remember this tune. Okay, I like playing those. Oh God, he's playing that song. I'd rather do those than. Yeah, of course. This cheesy DJ is playing these songs for Cocktail.
Let's see. Oh,
it's got a nice bridge to it. It's a well crafted song, so it's cool.
And that's kind of thing is the person's looking for something that toe tapper, that "oh yeah" throwback makes for a good tune.
Yeah.
"Color Me Bad" is also mentioned in here. Color Me Bad had quite a few tracks. There's the one, of course, big one that we used to do. I Want to Sex You Up. Probably not. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. All for Love.
All for Love, and the other one was
I Adore Me More.
I Adore Me More. That's Jay Brennan's track. He loves playing that one.
Okay, so
that's in his.
I haven't listened to that in so long. That I don't want to play too much of it, but I wanted to get a little sample of it. Gosh, I haven't heard that song in so long.
It's a good song.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a really good song. Yeah, I think that would be a great one for cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
And steal kind of biting Jay's playlist, but it's throwback enough where like you haven't heard it in a long time. Most people haven't, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
Jay uses it, because it's not something you hear every day.
Let's see. Jimmy in the chat room put in Lisa Stansfield, Been Around the World. It's actually,
Yes.
Jimmy, one of them that was on my list, All Around the World.
I think that's actually 89.
It charted in 91. Is
Ooh,
when
did it?
Yeah, it was
Around the world?
Yep, it charted either 90 91. But
I
yeah,
thought sure that was charting right next to Jane Child, I Want to Fall in Love, which was 89.
yeah, it
But,
was
well,
it was one of the too early in that time frame it came in, and it was in the Hot 100.
This is The Right Time by Lisa Stansfield. Is also a really nice song.
That was, yeah.
And it's upbeat. And when I'm doing cocktails, I'll do a lot of upbeat songs. I don't just do slow songs, can be sleepy. So I like to mix them up with the upbeat songs.
Yeah, precisely, and that's why, as an example, one that at one time would have probably been used as a dance, and it has been used in a dance, is Paperboy's Ditty. Came out during this particular time frame. It's one of those songs that people will be like, oh, and yet it's not a really great dance tune. Whilst some
Right.
people can, it fits really well in that mixing up during that while they're during the social hour of the cocktail.
Right.
All right, what do you got next that's going a little deeper into that library?
Okay, how about some up-tempo stuff? Something that at one time, maybe and I was there, so I know, it was probably only a week or two, it was a hot dance track, and then it wasn't anymore. I don't know why, but it's still a cool song, and here's a really good opportunity to play it during cocktails. Stereo MCs Connected.
I didn't even have that.
It's a song that people know and they like, but they maybe probably won't go out and dance to it, but it's upbeat.
Oh, great! And it's a great little tune.
Yeah. They had the other one, Ground Level, but I think Connected would be the one I would go for on that.
You're looking for that recognition that, like, oh man, I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
heard this song in a long time.
It's a cool song, and I don't think there's anything in there that's blatantly, I'm leaving you because you hurt me, and now I'm going to slash the tires of your car kind of thing going on in that song.
Yeah, Carrie Underwood comes out a few years later.
Right.
She's there, but she's later. She's later. Well, kind of playing some of the weird type tracks. For some reason I just like every once in a while to play something like the Modines or the Cure, and this of
yeah.
course is that era, so I can do both of them. So, playing the Cure's "Friday I'm in Love"
Yeah.
is something that's like that. For the people who are into that type of music during that particular time, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this guy understands me, man."
The one that I really like is Love Song. That one, if I had the choice to pick a 90s Cure track to just throw in there, I think I would go Love Song. It's very recognizable. I believe that's still 90s, isn't it?
I think so.
I might be wrong, but I thought it was 90s.
Oh,
Maybe it's late 80s. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, there it is. I was just going to check and see which. It's on a promo only, so let's see which promo only it is.
Oh well, if it's promo only, it was 90s, because I don't think they kicked off until
1990,
92.
best of 1990, volume 1.
Oh wow, so it's right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, love song.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, good track. Good track. Let's jump.
Nothing wrong with Friday I'm in Love though. That's a good one too.
US3 Cantaloupe.
Yes, us three.
Good track.
That was a weirder one that they.
I was
going to
say it's a weird track though. It has this weird kind of almost an eclectic song. They've just thrown a bunch of different types of things together, and there it is.
It's like acid jazz or something. But what was bizarre about that one, I like the song, and it's a great choice for cocktail. You're absolutely right. But what I thought was odd about it was it popped up on one of those MTV Buzzbin CDs.
Yep.
Along with like Creep and, Stone Temple Pilots and all of this kind of grungy stuff. And all of a sudden there's Us Three Cantaloupes. Like, sure, why not? I don't know why this makes sense to MTV to put these together, but okay.
Yeah, there they were. And there they were. Let's see. A couple of people have mentioned Michael Jackson, both on Facebook and on YouTube. You know, Michael had a few things
lot.
roll through during
Had a
that time
lot.
frame. Black and White, Remember the Time. We're throwing
And
out.
Remember the Time is a really nice one. Mm-hmm. I was even thinking about songs like Scream. I mean, just a song you don't hear all the time. But the entire Dangerous album and the entire History Part 1, which was the first disc of that, is good and people know it. There's a lot of cool stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good tunes. I was looking at Michael Jackson and thought about putting him on the list, but there's a few different artists where when you throw them into the mix, it's almost like you go left, you change the vibe or something. And I was trying to stay in the pocket with the vibe here.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another artist that had a lot of songs that didn't hit the top of the charts, a couple of them did during the 90s. Prince had a few tunes.
The other guy I was going to talk about.
Okay, let's go there if you wouldn't mind next. Then I wanted
Sure.
to get you in there.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm setting you up to talk about Prince and
Right.
and which
So you're talking about Prince. Well, to go with any of Prince's hits, maybe the one I would go with from the 90s that people recognize is The Morning Papers. It's a really nice song.
Mm-hmm.
The other choice could be, and they're interchangeable as far as I'm concerned, would be Money Don't Matter Tonight. That'd be a really good one to do. They're both kind of more down-tempo. They're not slow, but they're down-tempo. But the one I was thinking about that I thought would be really cool to play for Cocktail is off of Diamonds and Pearls. And I don't think it was ever a single. And I know it wasn't a single because I bought all the singles and I don't own it. But it's a good song. It's called Strollin'. Have you ever heard Strollin' by Prince?
I don't think so.
It's perfect for Cocktail. In fact, you could throw it into the middle of a Sinatra set. It's that type of song.
I don't think I've ever played that.
It's a nice song.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah.
Now, if I wanted to, and again, I'm trying to do songs that people recognize, and I don't know how many people would recognize Strollin'. Although a lot of people did buy Diamonds and Pearls, they've probably heard it. There's one off of Emancipation that I love. Again, was never a single, but I think it'd be really good for cocktails, especially if you're doing that R&B vibe. It's called Right Back Here in My Arms. I think that is a great song, and it would be fun to play. You'd never dance to it, but it's an up-tempo R&B kind of track that might work really well to stick in there somewhere.
Let's see if it pops up.
There it is.
Yeah. Not the Emancipation album.
You got to get to the chorus. It's just a nice. It's a cool little like R&B instrumental thing that I don't know. It's nice. So there are things. I don't think I would go. Well, you could go Diamonds and Pearls, but that's the most cliche. I think those would be nice songs to play for Cocktail.
Mm-hmm. Just checking my Dave Matthews Band. There is
9
that.
people playing instruments. They're all playing a different song at the same time. It's a Dave Matthews Band.
And then there's Dave up on there with the microphone and moaning about something.
I didn't know if there was a Dave Matthews in the Dave Matthews Band. I thought it was kind of like Hootie and the Blowfish, where there's no Hootie.
There's no Hootie. It's just one, yeah.
Right.
Oh, funny. But yeah, they're mentioning Oasis, I believe, is one that just popped up. Oasis.
Yes.
And there's you had the Verve during that time, Eagle Eyes Cherry, Pearl Jam. A lot of these bands during that particular time frame could.
One I have on my list is that's right around that sort of thing is New Radicals, Get What You Give.
I love that. I love that song. It's one of the.
That's a nice one that you could do because you're never going to get a dance floor for this unless you've got a really weird crowd, but they'll know it for Cocktail.
And this is actually one of my closing songs. After,
really?
so we finish and we do the Happy Trails, Van Halen, that one speaker that's doing blues.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
I do that too, but I use the song, or I haven't done it in a long time. I should do it again. It's been a good 10 to 15 years. I used to use a song by Robbie Williams called Rock DJ.
mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought it was so appropriate to do that one.
Yeah, that was one of those songs that I didn't know about until you had
Oh yeah,
shared
I
that.
turned you on to that
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Let's see. There was another one I wanted to. So
Go ahead and say it.
It wasn't a Boys to Men. It was Backstreet Boys.
Oh,
Because the Backstreet Boys, this is when I think I had one of their tunes here somewhere. Because the Backstreet in the late '90s came out with I Want It That Way.
yeah.
But that wasn't the song I wanted to do, because although you could do that, put that in a cocktail set, that song has been a later part of the night, like in that last hour, and all of a sudden you need to switch gears because you've just wore the floor out and you need that sing-along song. That was one of the best songs at the last wedding I did.
I had that too last at my event. The college kids, they wanted to hear it,
Yeah.
and I was surprised. That's like a new thing because I always would just do Everybody, and then I do NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. But yeah, I Want It That Way was a new one for me, and it did very well. Not as well as Backstreet's Back, Everybody, but it did well.
Yeah, it was really the sing-along that there were some of those late 20s, early 30 type year olds that were like, yeah, it was like, this is hard. Okay.
Did they also do Quit Playing Games with My Heart?
That's
Was
the
that-
song that I would put in the cocktail. Yes,
There you
because
go.
then you put that song in the cocktail, and then that actually sets the table for later. And they'll be like, "Hey," because they're like, "Oh, they were thinking Backstreet Boys during dinner time." And then
Right.
later they'll be like, "I got this great idea off the wall. You'll never believe. You know Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, no, really? They must be new. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think so." So what else do you have?
Gonna go a little weirdo on you here. Of course, talking to me. I haven't done this one in a long time, but sometimes when I'm doing these dinner cocktail sets, if I want to go up tempo, I actually go more housey, instrumental stuff. And there's one I don't think I've mentioned that I think would work really well for cocktail. It's by Delight. It's the flip side of Grooves in the Heart. It's called What Is Love? And I think it might work really well for cocktails because there are going to be some people out there who remember the song from the club.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go, oh my gosh, I haven't heard this in forever. I can't believe he's playing Delight's What Is Love? I believe it's spelled Deee space Lite is Delight. And then What Is Love is the track. But I will say that that's really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever you're playing there is pitched up.
Oh, really?
Yes. There it is.
Interesting. The very best of was the first one. Let's just jump ahead here.
It's just an instrumental.
Interesting. I wouldn't have not known that is.
If you ever want to treat, just if you're into that, if you're into the 90s stuff and that whole vibe, give the entire World Click album a listen. It is literally a fantastic album from front to back, believe it or not. The only big hit off of it was, of course, Groove is in the Heart, but the whole album is just a treat. I love that album. It's right on. It's good stuff.
Excellent. Well, let's see. As long as we're kind of talking, well, Groove is in the Heart was kind of a campy '90s type dancey song that had its time. There was a couple of them that came to mind that were similar to that. Where I want to Hanson's Mbop would almost be in that kind of that bubblegum rap or bubblegum pop, excuse me, from that era. You've got that. You've got some probably Sugar Ray stuff. LFO was another band that did a similar kind of a feel
Right.
to that. With Summer Girls was one of their tunes that
Right.
that came out, but all kind
You know,
of
the Hanson track "Where's the Love" is really good too.
yeah.
That's a nice one that you could do for cocktails that
And
people don't normally hear because bop is the go-to. But
Exactly.
"Where's the Love" would be like, you know, the B track that they still
the
would know.
second one. The second one. Let's see. So something upbeat, and this is Karen White. You know, had
I love Karen White.
had some great tunes, and they've just never been able to play enough of them.
Yes.
But the song "Romantic" from that era is a little bit faster. A little bit faster than. Let's just put this up here. So it's probably a little bit faster than most of your cocktail, because we're coming in at about 110 BPM. But in a right mix and flow, it's just a kind of a neat little toe tapping type song. And again, I'm a fan of Karen White stuff. So
Oh, dude, you just came up and cred with me a lot on that. That was a nice one, John. I will say that if I had to pick a Karen White song, though, it would be "The Way You Love Me."
good tune.
That is my. I've got all the Karen White 12 inches back here. "Romantic," "The Way You Love Me," and what was "The Way I Feel About You" was another big one. But "The Way You Love Me" would be my pick if I only had one pick. But "Romantic" is very good too. Yeah, but I love Karen White.
Mm-hmm. She has a song. I don't know if I've ever heard "Superwoman."
Oh, it's a ballad.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about that one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I just popped it up as her most popular songs, and
Yeah. Yeah, it was popular, but it's kind of a heavy ballad thing. So
let's see. Trying to see. Why don't we jump to one of yours, and then I'm going to jump to a quirky little song that for some reason has an appeal, and I have it on my list.
okay, I have one of those I can talk about now, and it's very early '90s, but I think it's a great song. You don't hear it, I don't hear it anyway, and that would be Shanice, "I Love Your Smile." Was that the song you were looking at?
That's exactly what I was coming with next.
As soon as you did the setup, I'm like, he's gonna do this. I'm just gonna catch his thunder. Shanice, "I Love Your Smile." Bam.
That's exactly what I just highlighted as I was going to. It's just a weird little song. There's two of them on the list, and that was one of them. And the other
song.
one was Sixpence.
Oh, "Kiss Me."
Yeah, Kiss Me. There we go.
Sixpence on the red shirt, "Kiss Me." Yeah.
Just little hokey songs that just for some reason I don't know, make you feel good, don't make you feel bad, have enough of a toe tap to them.
Right. There were some weirdo ones like that. I mean, when you're talking about the Sixpence, the one that comes to mind is Luscious Jackson, "Naked Eye." That was kind of a weird one that you would hear probably on the same radio station at the time.
Let's see if we can find that one.
I don't know that it'd be a great cocktail song, but it's the same sort of it's what they call alternative.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Flashback Machine.
That's been a long time.
Luscious Jackson. Yeah.
A long time ago on that one. Wow. Go back in time with that. That's for sure.
So cool.
Oh, funny. Oh, let's see. There's a couple of songs that are kind of again. I'd probably call it more of a guilty pleasure song, and I've talked about this one before. "The Barely Breathing" from Duncan Sheik.
Yeah.
I just, for some reason, I just like that one. It fits in with like the New Radicals. That song's just kind of that guilty pleasure song.
It's the background music.
Yeah, exactly, and
day.
it just fits. One song that came out during this era that had a moment a few years back, and I still had requests for it at our proms this spring, was Ghost Town DJ's My Boo.
Oh yeah, they had a dance to it and everything.
They had a dance to it a few years back, but for some reason, the kids were, and I suppose because these kids would have been what, freshmen, roughly 8th grade, 9th grade, when they were doing the I don't remember what the heck they were doing to My Boo. Was it that
It was the something challenge. It was the RoboCop challenge.
some sort of weird.
RoboCop challenge was to My Boo by Ghost Town DJs.
And that had its thing, but yeah, that came out during this era. Not that I would put that into the category, but
Sure.
as you're listening to it, it's like, it probably could have fit at one time, but now because of that, there's going to be people in the crowd who'd be like, "Oh, we got to do this to that." No,
it has a different purpose now.
Yeah, you just can't just be no.
No.
What do you got next for us?
Suzanne Vega featuring DNA, or DNA featuring Suzanne Vega, however you want to look at it, Tom's Diner.
Oh, okay.
The Suzanne Vega track, Tom's Diner, is an a cappella poem. And DNA were DJ's producers, and they made a funky beat, and they put the poem on top of it, and the result was magical. And it's a dance track. It's very Eric B. and Rakim paid in full. It's very Shanice, I Love Your Smile. It's very Milli Vanilli Girl, You Know It's True. It's got that drum beat to it. Enigma Sadness. I could go on and on. So, but it's a cool track. People know it, and I don't think they'd fill your dance floor for it, but for a cocktail, right on, groovy. I think it'd be a good one.
Yeah, it's good that it has that kind of a nice moving feel, and yet there's so many versions of that. I wonder how many I've got on my computer, because as you were saying, it's a poem that I've heard a version where it was basically just her, and there's nothing, just the lyric. Then there's a version that had just the kind of a bass background, or the percussion, and then there's the full one that we had. So yeah, there's a lot of differences with that one. But yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, I probably have 4 different versions of it on 12-inch single alone, like 4 different covers and everything. Some 45, some 33. I've got them from all over the world. Anytime I travel somewhere, it's like, oh, here's the Greek copy of DNA featuring Suzanne Vega's Tom Diner. Gotta have that.
Yeah, exactly. We got one more. Add them to the stack, man.
Because you never know.
Oh. Let's see. There was one. Tony had a lot of hits during or had their hits during the 90s, and the one that I put on the list is If I Had No Loot, but there's numerous tracks that could have fit.
Very New Jack swang.
Let's see on the pocket.
So Feels Good is always my go-to Tony Tone track.
Yep.
Hell, you might even get dancers for that.
I was going to say that one would have been pushing dancers, because that was, as going through a bunch of the old 90s lists, and there's a track right there that would be a dance type song that could be mixed in, and you completely forget about it.
There's nothing wrong with bobbing your head while you're getting a cocktail either at a low volume. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep, for sure. And that was Feels Good, by the way, if you guys didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Melissa Etheridge had a track. I'm the Only One was kind of the most well known at that particular time. That kind of a power
ballad.
Kind of a power ballad, but I don't think it would be really.
They called it women's music back then.
Yeah,
it was like Meredith Brooks and Sarah McLachlan and Indigo Girls. It was all kind of the same bus ride,
but just a very strong. And at that era or that time, in many, especially the refrain, everybody knew it. It would have been very, very common that they would have sing along to that part of it.
Come to My Window is really nice too.
Yeah, she had a couple of songs that
Yeah.
she made in that era that people. I had some folks who really were big Melissa Etheridge fans, so
Oh, right on.
we went a little bit deeper with some of her tracks also during that time frame.
Sure.
But yeah, she had some fun stuff there. I think it was the Yes I Am album.
Yeah. And basically it was her coming out album. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah, Yes, I Am. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was used a lot. So let's see, we got about time enough for one more song. Brian, what do you got for our last one to wrap us up here?
Ooh, I only got time for one more.
Or give us just kind of maybe give a couple of in fast order here.
I'll give you a couple quick ones.
Yep.
So I'm going to tell you about the songs on my list that are not necessarily lyrically wedding appropriate, but I think are cocktail appropriate. I've been saving them for last.
Excellent. Let's
and
do it.
I only got a couple. So the first one I think is a beautiful song and people know, but you don't hear it all the time, is Just Another Day by John Cicada. I think it's a really nice song. And again, it's got that same kind of beat that Tom's Diner has to it.
Yeah, good tune.
That Eric B. and Rakim beat for Paid in Full. And the other thing I was thinking about going to the late 90s was Destiny's Child. Beyonce is still hot. Jumpin's a great song. And the one that gets stuck in my head whenever I played it, and I played it at a wedding a couple weeks ago, is Bugaboo. But it's actually kind of a cool tune. And I did get dances for it, but I was thinking, yeah, Bugaboo might be pretty dope for some cocktail too. It's just got a feel to it. I don't know. There's something about the tune. So some of that late 90s Destiny Child stuff could work really well.
For
and
sure.
Bridge nicely into contemporary.
And I just wanted you to know, Brian, that Huey Lewis did release some songs in the 90s, but I didn't include any on my list. So I refrained.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I refrained from. I'll do better next time.
Wasn't that when they did and it's all right, or was that still 80s?
Yeah, I think that came out in in that time frame.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scan through. Love You Sec.
The mom rock Huey Lewis and the News stuff.
Oh, it didn't. No Doubt, of course, came out. I think No Doubt's first out, Greatest Hits, 93 to 2002, somewhere in that ballpark. But they had a number of songs.
The second album, the Tragic Kingdom album, that had some good ones on. The first album was so weird. There's a song on there called Trapped in a Box that I can't even find a place to play it. It's so goofy. Gwen sounds like she's a 33 being played at 78 on that song. It's really weird. But the stuff off the Tragic Kingdom was brilliant. There was a lot of good stuff on there.
Somebody mentioned the Frog song in there.
Crazy Frog, that was 2000s.
That was a little bit later. Yeah, Crazy Frog came out at that, and
I was
got in
thinking
trouble.
about there were so many songs that I would have loved to put in here if it was a 2000s list, because it was rather in that border. Like
Yep.
the one that I like, and I don't know if anybody else does or not, but I love the song by Crazy Town called Butterfly. And it's very, very early 2000s, but stuff like that I think would just work well. You could just throw it in. It's kind of the same vibe.
Yeah, some of the songs that we had on a list are songs you would play when you look at a sad dog. Oh, there's a sad puppy. Let's play this song. Yep, that would be. Yeah, that's kind of how some of these would be. Just checking the rest of the chat. So excellent. In the chat room, I'm going to put the link. This is where I can't type and talk right tonight. This is the link where Howie and the crew are going to be going in, and they're going to be talking about 2000 dance floor fillers. So you can go in there, and if you don't want to be on camera, shut your camera off, and there's a chat room in there, and you can be doing the same thing there, putting songs in the chat room, or you can have your camera, or you do that, and you could be part of the show with the guys, because it's going to be basically an evening of sharing dance floor filling songs from the 2000s. So
I'm gonna go hop in and hang out.
yeah, it sounds like a good thing. I've got kids that got 2 days of school left or so, 2.5 days of school left. So I've got to head in and get them on their way to bed. But
The home stretch.
it is. We've made it. Yay. That's important this year. No more quarantines. Yay. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. If there's any songs or anything, you guys can put those into the chat after the show is over, and then people go down and check those. It's interesting when people come in there and they've listed like 8 or 10 songs, and then people are like, oh my gosh, that's a great song, and they found it in that chat. So if you do take the time to do that, there are people who will come through and read those and appreciate that much later. So thank you much for being with us tonight. Brian, thanks for jumping in on a Monday night, and we will catch you guys later. Good night, everybody.